Okay, hi. What am I doing this? Alright. I wanted to ask a question to my fellow Facebook, YouTube people, whatever, whoever sees this. His message is going to be walking back and forth like usual. So, we were watching some of the newer SVU episodes, so I've pretty much seen every single SVU episode before Elliot left, and then I stopped watching because let's face it, who wanted to watch it once Elliot left? Well, we were watching the new ones, and it was very interesting. There was this little girl, I think she was 13 years old, and she got pregnant. And at first she was saying, I didn't have sex. It's God's baby. She just didn't want to get in trouble. And then they discovered that someone sent her flowers around the time she got impregnated. So, usual detective work ensues, and turns out it was the son of an ambassador. So, one of those really rich, privileged children. Actually, I'm not going to say children because he was anything, but so they meet him, and he is not shy about what he did. He's very much like, oh yeah, she remembers me. What did he say? Something? I gave her cherry or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I gave her cherry, and he knows that they can't touch him because he's 13 also. So what are they gonna do? But what this little boy did, and this is fictional. I'm pretty sure this happens in real life, but this is fictional, and this is just me. I want to ask a question. Let me get there. He had a party, and he had someone bring this little girl, which is 13, so I guess she's a teenager, pre-teen, whatever, but she was brought up a certain way, and she was innocent. She was young. She was truly young. She didn't understand what having sex and what it meant, and she understood that you're not supposed to do it, but she didn't understand what it meant, So she notices that everybody's drinking at this party, and she's like, I don't want to drink. And this boy, gives her a tour of his house. And granted, this girl's not rich. She's in New York and from a more poor family, and of all things, she's Puerto Rican or something. And she goes to this boy's house, and he has a beautiful house. He's the son of an ambassador. To him, it's a palace. To her, it's a palace. And he takes her to his room, and he brings her lemonade. And then in the story, she says she gets dizzy, so she sits down on the bed. Obviously, he drugged her. And she says, I remember saying no, and it hurt, but he took my pants off, and he put his hand down my throat, my shirt, and he put it in, and it hurt. And it's like, okay, it's like he describes what happened to her. And how much he was like, it's your fault. Because it's your fault I can't stop because you're hot, and don't tell your parents or your grandmother who she lived with. And then when they were done, he told her you should clean yourself up. And then he told her to leave. So the little girl left, got a cab, and went home. What was she supposed to do? She didn't know that she technically had just gotten raped. She didn't understand that. And then the next day, the little rich boy sends her roses. So she's in her mind, she's like, he wouldn't do that for just any girl. He obviously likes me. So my question to you guys after my nearly 4 minutes of rambling is there a difference between age and innocence? Because they're both the same age. They are both they're children. And yet, this kid, and I didn't even say this word on the show, a sophisticated player. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to get what he wanted. And he didn't do it because he was confused. He didn't do it because he liked her. He did it because he could. Is there a difference? Should he be given special treatment? Or be treated like a child, because he's a child? Because he's legally he is a child. It's not statutory rape because they're the same age. But he was not going to answer to that because she didn't outcry it afterward. They were saying that because she didn't say the next day that she got raped, it doesn't matter because it's too late, and I think she was like 8 weeks pregnant or something. So there was nothing really they could do with the kid. But like I said, my question is flat out, should it matter? Should it matter how old he is? he took advantage of her regardless of how old he was. He did something that 20-year-olds do to 16-year-old girls. Why is the age such an important thing? I mean, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. If you're 25 and you're sleeping with a 16-year-old, you should go to jail because you are taking advantage of a much younger child, and you should not, find women your own age. Statutory rape is real, and you should never ever do something like that. But why do the rules change if both kids are minors? Why do they change? He still got her pregnant. He still drugged her. No, they have no physical proof, but she's not lying. Like, obviously the girl's not lying. Well, in the show, in the fictional show, but is there really a difference between innocence and age? Like, why should your age define how innocent you are? I personally don't think it should. I think that little boy knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he was taking advantage. He knew it was wrong. He did it anyway because he can, and he could get away with it. And I think right there, he was not an innocent, and she was, because she didn't know. If you don't know what you're doing or what you're agreeing to, how can you take responsibility for it? And then they show this little girl's pregnant. She's suffering for something that she had no control of. And she could have said no, but she was drugged. And again, you're a young girl. You don't really know what's going on. You're confused. You're like, does he like me? Why does it hurt? Is this bad? You don't know. You don't know. So, yeah, I just want to hear what other people have to say. If maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think age should have anything to do. If you took advantage of someone, that is rape. That is statutory rape. Whether she was consenting. She didn't know what she was doing. You knew what you were doing. If you knew and they don't, that's the wrong. That's my opinion, and I would just like to hear everybody else's. So, my Facebook friends or anybody who sat through the 7 minutes of this, let me know. Or hopefully maybe you sped through it, but just write down, comment, I don't care, video response. I want to hear what other people have to say.